Hey guys, what's up? In today's tutorial we're going to be going over advanced movement and attack options in Smash Ultimate. I'll show you how to do things like run up tilt and run up forward smash, as well as reverse aerial rushes, B reverses, ledge release options, and much more. These tricks can really help you get an edge on your opponent and level up your gameplay. Alright, let's get right into it. Have you ever noticed that in Smash, when you're dashing at full speed, it's hard to throw out any grounded move other than dash attack? Well, I'm about to show you a remedy to that issue that will allow you to throw out tilts and forward smashes while approaching your opponent at full speed. To make this easy, I would recommend switching your C-stick to tilt attacks. If I wanted to run up, forward, tilt an opponent, all I'd have to do is dash towards them, and then when I'm a few feet from them, hit back on the control stick in the opposite direction. This will halt your momentum, and after a brief moment you can input the forward tilt in their direction with the C-stick. If everything goes well, it should look like this. If it's not working, you probably need to wait a little bit longer before pressing back on the control stick and inputting the forward tilt with the C-stick. This option is super powerful for characters like Roy, Wolf, and Pyra, who have forward tilts that come out relatively quickly and have tons of kill power. And it's a great option for any characters with laggy dash attacks as an alternative means of approaching. Run-up forward smashes work basically the same way. Dash towards an opponent, and once you're within range, hit back in the opposite direction on the control stick, and then input the forward smash in your opponent's direction. Again, this is a great option for characters like Roy, Lucina, and Fox, who have very little startup lag on their forward smashes. You can perform run-up up tilts the same way, or if you'd prefer, you can run up and instead of holding in the opposite direction with the control stick, you can just hold down and then input up on the C-stick. If you like to approach with the back side of your up tilt instead of the front, you can dash towards them and then hold down and away on your control stick before putting in the input. This is useful for characters like Pyra, whose up tilts hitboxes start behind her. Usually people have no problem with doing run-up down tilts, but if you do, just follow the same instructions. Let's talk about another issue just about everyone runs into with down tilt though. How many times have you been in this awkward position, where you and your opponent are right next to each other, but your back is facing them? You know that if you try anything slow, you're instantly going to get grabbed. Well, this is where you need instant pivot down tilt. To do this, barely press your control stick towards your opponent, and then hit down on the C-stick. Just make sure not to press hard on the control stick so you don't input a dash. Next, let's talk about how to reverse aerial rush. Much like the last technique, this allows you to turn around before a jump so that you can approach with things like a back air or the backside of a different aerial, while still keeping your momentum from a full speed dash. To perform this, just like before, dash towards your opponent. Then, when you're within the range, hit back on the control stick in the opposite direction. It will halt your momentum, and after a very brief moment, you can input the jump button, and you will now be flying towards your opponent, but with your back facing them. From there, you can input your back air or whatever aerial you wish to use. Learning this technique is super important for competitive play. Not only does it open up new ways to approach with every character, but also new ways to close out stocks even sooner. If you're having issues performing it, again, make sure there's a slight delay between the time that you hit back on the control stick and the time you input the jump. Next, let's go over B reverses. B reverses look like this. Normally in Smash, you cannot change the direction you're facing mid-air. But B reverses allow you to do this and reverse your momentum. To perform it, press neutral B while in the air. A brief moment after you input the B button, tap the opposite direction that you're facing. If you time it correctly, you'll get a B reverse. The timing for this is a bit strict, and you want to make sure that you're not pressing B and backwards at the same time. This can also work with down Bs. Input the down B while you're in the air and then immediately press in the opposite direction that you're facing. B reverses open up new opportunities like being able to retreat while using projectiles, new combo opportunities, and the ability to juke out an opponent for things like safe landings by using unexpected movement. You can also just use it to style on people. It can be really good as a way to put up a defensive wall with Bowser and Charizard's fire attacks, or land that DK punch on an unsuspecting opponent. I know that most of you are familiar with the basic options to get up from ledge, but before I go over a couple of more advanced techniques, I want to review the basics. The 4 normal ways to get up from ledge are regular get up by pressing towards the stage with your control stick, get up attack by pressing the A button, roll get up by pressing the shield button, and jump get up by pressing the jump button. But you can also get back on a stage with an aerial, with a technique known as ledge release. To perform it, press the opposite direction on the control stick from the stage. This will allow you to release the ledge, and from there you can jump onto the stage with any aerial. Just make sure that when you release the ledge you don't hit down on your control stick or you'll fast fall to your death. Also, you should be aware that if the opponent is ready for this, they can shield and easily punish you, so make sure you're only using it as a mix-up. You can also use ledge release when edgeguarding opponents. To do this, again press away from the stage to release the ledge, then jump towards your opponent and hit them with an aerial, and if you're able to, you can up B to recover. Another technique that I feel is severely underutilized by players is falling aerials. What I mean by this is air attacks you input after you've reached the apex of your jump and are now falling downwards. This technique can allow you to start combos on grounded opponents with moves like up air. It can be used to improve your punish game in many situations. At other times, you'll want to use rising aerials, where you jump and then input an aerial as you're rising upwards. In this clip, you'll notice that I hit Terry with a falling down air to begin with. But if I was to hit him with another falling down air, I'd almost certainly die in the process. By using a jump before my second down air, Falcon's able to rise upwards as he does his down air, so I'm still able to recover. Next, I'm going to talk about short hops. I know that for many of you this is pretty basic movement, so feel free to skip ahead if you already know how to do this. For those that don't know how to short hop, however, this is a very important skill that will allow you to completely change the way that you play the game and help you a ton competitively. To practice short hops, I'd recommend that you go into training mode on one of the battlefield stages and stand under one of the platforms. You'll easily be able to tell if you're getting a short hop or a full hop, depending on whether you land on the platform, which would be a full hop, or if you stay under the platform when you jump, which would be a short hop. The way I like to explain how to short hop is like this.
Gear down. Gently now, you just want to kiss the ground. Just a little peck, a smooch like you're kissing your sister.
Like Skipper said, you want to touch the jump button so lightly that it's just a peck, like a smooch like you're kissing your sister. Practice doing it over and over again until you can get it consistently, and then do it with air attacks. Then try implementing it in your gameplay against real opponents. This next one is also very basic but often forgotten about. I'm talking about fast falling. Fast falling is very noticeable for characters that are a bit floaty, especially like Lucina. If you press down on your control stick when you're up in the air, you'll fall to the ground faster. And you can even combine this with an aerial. Fast falling with an aerial can allow you to cover more space and to hit closer to the ground. It will also help you speed up your gameplay in general and allow you to avoid some of your opponent's attacks. The only thing you must be careful about is you have to do it after the apex of your jump, because if you're still rising from your jump, it will not allow you to fast fall. Next, let's talk about retreating aerials. Retreating aerials are when you throw out an air attack but drift backwards away from your opponent. The use of this technique might seem a bit counterintuitive, because if you're retreating after an attack, you won't be able to follow it up with a combo. So what are the benefits of retreating aerials then? The main benefit is that retreating aerials are very safe. If you hit someone's shield with them, you're probably not going to get shield grabbed or hit with an out of shield option. You'll notice here that with this retreating neutral air, I was able to hit Terry very safely. If he had put his shield up and I had landed, you'll notice that the place I landed was so far away that there's no way he would have been able to quickly punish me. Another huge benefit of this technique for characters with disjoints, like sword characters, is that they can use retreating aerials to put up a wall, which essentially makes it very difficult for the opposing player to approach them. A third benefit is the ability to space your aerial against an opponent. For characters like Byleth or Lucas, you want to make sure that you're hitting the sweet spot of your forward air. So if you are using the retreating aerial, you can space it so that the sweet spot hits your opponent. To do this, all you have to do is jump, use your aerial, and then hold away from your opponent with the control stick. Or if you use the C stick for aerials, simply jump and hold away from your opponent, but use the C stick to input an aerial towards them. Next, let's talk about drag downs. With certain multi-hit moves, you can use them as a falling aerial or fast fall with them in order to drag an opponent down to the ground or a platform. Depending on the move and percents, you may be able to follow up while they're still in hit stun. Joker's up air and Pit's forward air are both good examples of drag down moves. Next up is pivot grabs. You can perform a pivot grab by dashing in one direction and then pressing the grab button at the same time as you hit the opposite direction on your control stick. This will make your character turn around and grab immediately. It's a great way to deal with someone who's running up behind you. And some characters have longer range on their pivot grab than their regular grab. I'd like to briefly mention, but not go into details, on another technique, which is the slingshot and long shot. If you'd like to learn more about the uses of these and how to do them, you can check out the tutorial over on Gimmer's channel. Another movement and recovery option that's very underutilized by most players is wall jumps. Certain characters have the ability to wall jump, and if you jump towards a wall and then press in the opposite direction on your control stick right as you touch that wall, you'll do a wall jump. You can use wall jumps for a number of things, like coming onto stage with a back air, or mixing up your recovery. You can even use it as an aggressive edge guarding option, or just a style on people. Another great technique to learn is the instant double jump. You've probably seen Wolf players do up throw into up air as a true combo. If you try to do this, however, with only a single jump, it's very difficult, if not impossible. To get high enough to make your up air connect, you want to up throw and then jump and double jump before inputting the up air. This simple technique is great for a number of characters, especially those like Steve and Snake, whose initial jump is shorter than most characters. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for us today. I hope you learned something new, and if you did, leave a like, and maybe a comment if you have any questions. Oh, what's that? You want to learn how to shimmy? Alright, I'll tell you, but you have to subscribe. The secret of how to shimmy is